Networks. Hey, good morning, friends. Welcome to the Bright Side. I am Pharmacist Ben, and thanks for joining us. We have lines open for you, 844-236-6010. If you have questions about health, nutrition, prescription drugs, if you want to wean yourself off your meds and get on a good nutritional supplement program, we are here for you. If you have a comment or success story, or if you just want to contribute to the conversation, 844-236-6010. We've got Kate Delaney coming up at the bottom of the hour. Kate Delaney is a authoress and a radio media broadcaster. She's got a program on the GCN radio network, America Tonight, and she's also the author of a book that I read several years ago, a really cool book about sports. She's got an interesting take on business. Her new book is about business, and we'll talk to Kate Delaney at the bottom of the hour. And we'll get your calls in our second segment, 844-236-6010. If you want to purchase longevity products, go to brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. You can purchase longevity products right off the website, or you can call 866-735-2470 if you want to speak to a real person. And don't forget to ask about our joining the Brightside Ben team. When you call 866-735-2470, our home-based business opportunity. The Longevity Business Opportunity is a great way to help spread the word about the power and importance of a good nutritional supplement program. It's also a great way to make a little spare change and work out of your home. A home-based business is the way to go, especially if there's going to be another lockdown, if you've lost your job, or if you need extra money. A home-based business selling nutritional supplements is a win-win. You make money, you work out of the home, and you help change the world at the most fundamental level there is, which is the level of good nutrition. Call 866-735-2470 for more info, or click on the Join the Team link at brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. All right, we've got Kate Delaney coming up at the bottom of the hour. We'll get your calls next segment, 844-236-6010. We've been talking about the distinction between water-soluble nutrients and fat-soluble nutrients. Your water-soluble nutrients are said to be polar. They have a pull. The word polar or polarity refers to a pull. When you have an imbalance, something is heavier on one side and lighter on the other side. In terms of electrical polarity, you have more electricity on one side than you do on the other. That creates a pull. Water-soluble nutrients have this pulling action. Non-polar or fatty substances have their electrical energy dispersed evenly. That makes them trickier to work with. They're stickier. That's why you can't get oil stains out of your clothes as well as you can get water stains out of your clothes. The oil stains are made up of oil particles that stick. That's why peanut butter doesn't come off of the knife as well as easy as jelly. When I make almond butter, I use almond butter. I don't use peanut butter. When I make an almond butter sandwich, I put the knife in a cup of water in the sink with a bunch of soap. I pull the knife out. The almond butter's still on the knife. It doesn't come off. It sticks. It's non-polar. The electrical energy is dispersed evenly, so it sticks. This creates a whole different biochemical milieu around fat-soluble nutrients. They're much more difficult for the body to extract. One group of fat-soluble nutrients that we don't really even consider them nutrients unless we really dive deep and talk about what they are. When you just think about them, the average person probably doesn't think of these things as nutrients, and I'm talking about colors. I'm talking about pigments. Colors or pigments of fruits and vegetables, the reds, the greens, the purples, the blues. These are really beautiful to look at, but they're actually nutritional. Colors are nutritional. They're highly nutritional. What we call flavonoids and carotenes. There's other ones, anthocyanidins and proanthocyanidins. In fact, the four main pigments that you'll find in plants are the chlorophylls, which are green, the carotenoids, which are red and orange, like carrots, the flavonoids, which are all kinds of different colors, but largely blues and greens, like blueberries and raspberries. And then a fourth type of pigment called the betalains. Beets are examples of contain examples of veggie that contains lots of betalains. And these pigments, these beautiful colors, are much more than just beautiful colors. They're nutritional. And this is one reason why you have to eat fruits and veggies in addition to supplementing. Now, there are supplements that have some of these pigments in them. Longevity has a powder supplement called the Ultimate Youth, I believe, which is a powder supplement that's got these pigments. But by far and away, the best way to get your pigments is by eating fresh fruits and veggies. However, because many of these pigments are fat soluble, you got to make sure that you're processing your fats correctly to get the benefits of these pigments. These pigments, by the way, are largely stress management molecules. They're said to be adaptogens. That means they help the cells adapt to stress. Under conditions of fat malabsorption, intestinal problems, you guys know, I've talked about this all the time. When your gallbladder's taken out, you have a liver issue, anything that compromises your ability to process fats is going to compromise your ability to extract these sticky colors from your green beans or from your eggplant or from your beets or from your pumpkins or from your carrots or from your turnips. And by the way, when you select fruits and veggies, it's always good to select fruits and veggies that are colorful. The more colorful your fruits and veggies, the more of these plant pigments they contain, the more nutritional value and stress management value they contain. But if you're having an issue processing fats, you had your gallbladder taken out, fat malabsorption syndrome, SIBO, dysbiosis, SIBO meaning small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, or any messed up bacteria, any condition of messed up gut bacteria, so-called dysbiosis, you're not going to be extracting these molecules effectively. This is especially important for the skin. It turns out these stress management molecules are distributed to the skin, especially. Why? Well, think about it. The skin is subject to a lot of abuse, a lot of environmental abuse. The exposome, which is the world of toxicity that's in the environment that attacks the skin. Cigarette smoke is part of the exposome. Carbon monoxide from automobiles or industrial emissions, that's part of the exposome. Cigarette smoke is part of the exposome. Soap and cleansers and cosmetics and preservatives and sunscreens. Sunscreens that the dermatologist tells you to slather all over your skin. That's part of the exposome. And it turns out that the pigments from fruits and veggies have protective effects for the skin against the exposome. However, as we get older, we don't absorb these pigments as effectively, which is why you always want to braise your veggies or steam your veggies or somehow add oil or butter or coconut oil, some kind of lipid, some kind of fatty substance to your veggies. This is one of the benefits of putting oil on your salads. And yes, I know about the problem with vegetable oils. Nonetheless, using lipid, if you don't want to use vegetable oil, use butter, on your salad helps extract those veggies, and it turns out that that's a lot of scientists believe that one of the reasons for the well-known benefits of the Mediterranean diet is the mixture of oil with veggies. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. 844-236-6010 is our number. We'll get your calls next segment. Kate Delaney coming up in our third segment. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back right after this. Okay, we are back on The Bright Side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. 844-236-6010 is our number. If you're on hold, hang tight. We'll get your calls here momentarily. Kate Delaney coming up at the bottom of the hour, and we'll get your calls here in just a minute. If you want to purchase longevity products, go to brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com, and click on the Join the Team link if you want to start a longevity business, or call 866-735-2470. So the logic to mixing oil with veggies, or butter with veggies, or coconut oil with veggies, is you'll help extract or pull out some of those nutrients from your vegetables. It's nutrition. It's not what you ingest. It's what you absorb. And anything you could do to help your body absorb nutrients is going to improve your health. When it comes to veggies and fruits, and by the way, the peels of the fruits are where these pigments are located. And that's in many fruits, the peel is really where the good stuff is. Not that there's not good stuff inside, but the really medicinal and therapeutic molecules are located in the peels of fruits. That's where the colors are. And also, by the way, when you're putting your vegetable oil or your olive oil, your macadamia nut oil, whatever kind of oil you want to use, and I'm talking about oils, and I understand the problem with oils, but so you always want to use them fresh, you always want to use a little bit, and you always want to keep them in the refrigerator, and you don't want to heat them. You want to use them like they're medicines. And so, yes, there's a problem built into oils, but they're therapeutically valuable and you want to use them correctly. But if you add apple cider vinegar to your salad, you'll get even more pigment pulling properties. Apple cider vinegar contains acetic acid. Lemon juice, by the way, contains citric acid. Both lemon juice and lemon juice and vinegar, by virtue of their hydroxy acids, will help pull out these oil-soluble substances, and they'll support the extraction properties of your oil. So if you're going to do a salad dressing, do oil and vinegar, and you'll get this maximum pulling effect. Just be really careful with the oils. So the major pigments are your flavonoids, your carotenes, chlorophyll, which is unbelievably, stupendously important. It's chlorophyll that's really responsible for all of life. It's chlorophyll that turns the sun into material matter. That's amazing. The chlorophyll, the molecule chlorophyll, is responsible for turning the sun into matter. And it's probably the single most amazing molecule on the planet, chlorophyll is. The fourth pigment, the betalains, are really interesting. The betalains are found in purple and violet kinds of fruits, especially beets. They get the name from beets. And it turns out that the betalains in beets may be what gives beets their exercise performance benefits. It's been well known that beets are important for improving exercise performance. Beetroot powder is now all the rage. Longevity has a cardio beet product, beet being good for the heart. And the nitrates or I should say nitric oxide is what gets all of the publicity when it comes to the importance of beets. However, it may actually be the betalains that are doing the work. At least the betalains are participating in the work. From the Natural Medicine Journal, betaline-rich concentrate improves exercise performance. It's not the nitrates in beets that enhance athletic performance. It's the betalains, at least according to this study. Beetroot improved a 10-kilometer run performance in competitive male and female triathletes. It also improved 5-kilometer run performances 24 hours after the initial 10-kilometer run. That means they ran 10 kilometers, they got improved performance, and then 24 hours later, they ran another 5 kilometers, and again got improved performance. Now, nitric oxide is what gets all the press when it comes to beets, but it could very well be the betalains, which are powerful stress management molecules, just like the other pigments, the flavonoids, the chlorophyll, and the carotenes. And speaking of chlorophyll, you can actually buy liquid chlorophyll at the health food store, and it's a great way, number one, to freshen your breath. Chlorophyll is a great breath deodorizer. Number two, to chelate toxicity. Chlorophyll is a chelating agent for cleaning out the blood. We all know about the problem with dirty blood. And then number three, to provide your body with one of nature's most powerful stress management molecules, also one of the most abundant molecules on planet Earth, which is chlorophyll. All right, 844-236-6010 is our number. Got lines open for you. Let's hit the phones and say good morning to our friend. Oh, Mary, I hung up on you. Mary, I hit the wrong button. Call back. I was going to pick Mary up, but I hit the wrong button. Anyway, so if Mary, call back and we'll get you up here. If not, a couple more things I want to say about the betalains. They also are anti-cancer. The betalains have been shown to inhibit the growth of several types of malignant tumors, especially breast cancer tumors, liver cancer tumors, colon cancer tumors, and bladder cancer tumors. The betalains work via something called apoptosis. And in fact, all stress management molecules work via apoptosis, or at least that's one of the mechanisms they have is apoptosis. They encourage the programmed cell death. Cells are supposed to commit suicide when they're dysfunctional. Cells are supposed to commit suicide when they're carcinogenic. Cancer cells are supposed to, and usually they do, commit suicide. And for a cancer tumor to form is really a relatively rare occurrence, because when a cell is dysfunctional, it will kill itself. Well, it turns out that these adaptogens encourage the apoptosis, the programmed cell suicide that's built into all cells, especially dysfunctional cells. It turns out that the flavonoids and chlorophyll and the carotenes, and especially the betalains, work to stimulate apoptosis of cancer cells. The nitric oxide in beets also is important, and also perhaps even the betalains are important for sexual performance. It's like a natural Viagra. The nitric oxide improves oxygen flow to the tissues, all the tissues, and it can act like a natural Viagra. It doesn't act like a natural Viagra in the sense that it has the potency of Viagra, but it has the same kind of effect. The nitric oxide has the same kind of effects. To this day, I'm shocked when I hear somebody say they don't like beets, considering the fact that beets are so rich in sugar. When I go on Coast to Coast, sometimes I'll tease George about beets because he hates beets. And I don't understand how anybody could hate beets personally, because they just basically taste like candy. And they, for good reason, because they're so rich in sugar. That's where we get a lot of sugar from, is from beets. And beet sugar, of course, is just like any other sugar, but because it's mixed with betalains and other phytonutrients, it's not as problematic. Fruits and veggies are so darn important for so many different reasons. Today I did my moment of truth on silica. Silica, which is also known as silicon dioxide. Silica also goes by the name of sand. And silica is quite obviously one of the most abundant substances on the planet. In fact, next to oxygen, silica is the most abundant element in the Earth's crust. A quarter, 25 to 26% of the Earth's crust is made up of silicon. Nonetheless, silicon is very difficult for the body to process. The best sources of silicon in the natural kingdom are grains and fruits and veggies. Grains and fruits and veggies, while they do contain silicon, don't contain enough of the active form or the bioavailable form of silicon. In order to get the bioavailable form of silicon, or the best way to get the bioavailable form of silicon, is to use something called orthosilicic acid, also known as OSA. Let me tell you something. In my opinion, orthosilicic acid, i.e. silicon, is the single most underappreciated element for skin health, for hair health, for nail health, and for overall anti-aging of the connective tissue. And you would do really well to get yourself on an orthosilicic acid supplement, which are available in various skin formulas, and also as liquid silica gel. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. We got Kate Delaney coming up in our next segment. Don't go away. Okay, we are back on The Bright Side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. We're on the air Monday through Friday, 8 to 9 Pacific Time and 10 to 11 Central, 24/7 on the archive page at benfuchsarchives.com. We have a search engine up. We also have a archive page at brightsideben.com with the longevity products. You can also purchase longevity products at criticalhealthnews.com and pharmacistben.com. We've got news stories, blog posts, videos, lots of good health information on all of our websites, and you can sign up to join the Brightside Ben team off the website as well. Just click on the Join the Team link, or you can call 866-735-2470. Don't forget to take a look at our Truth Skin Health products, all formulated in my compounding pharmacy, designed to heal the skin. But as we say, healing is beauty. If you can't put your beauty product on a cut or a scrape or broken skin and have it accelerate the healing of that cut or scrape or broken skin, it's probably not a wrinkle product, because the same mechanism that heals the skin beautifies the skin. You can find all our Truth treatment products without any preservatives, fragrances, fillers, waxes, emulsifiers, silicone, vegetable oil, water, nothing your skin doesn't need or doesn't want in any of our Truth Skin Health products, all up at truthtreatments.com, and our almost 900 4- and 5-star reviews at truthreviewed.com. All right, I'm looking forward to our guest, a good friend of mine who I have known for now going on probably 8 or 9 years or so. Kate Delaney has her own program on the GCN radio network, America Tonight. She is a very highly regarded media expert and the winner of a media prize this past year. I'll have to ask Kate what that is. She's also the author of a new book, which I want to talk about, book about business, as well as books about sports. Her book about business is called Deal Your Own Destiny, Increase Your Odds, Win Big, and Become Extraordinary. And her book about sports, which I read probably 4 or 5 years ago, Invade the Man Cave, Sports Secrets Guys Don't Share. Please welcome to the Bright Side, Kate Delaney. Hey, Kate, good morning.
Pharmacist Ben, gosh, it's so good to be on with you. I'm so proud of you and what you've accomplished. Good job.
Wow. Good. Dude, Kate, are you kidding me? It takes one to know one. Holy cow. You're an authoress, you're a speaker, and you're a media guru. or I should say media superstar, and that's pretty darn amazing. I read Invade the Man Cave. I remember probably what was it, about 5 years ago? When did it come out? It came out 5 years ago, right? 6 years ago?
Yeah, about 5 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, so I got it right away, and I was completely charmed. How many Super Bowls have you been to, by the way?
15 Super Bowls.
15? What was the best one?
Oh, that's such a great question. I think that it was the Giants when they beat the Patriots and David Tyree had that helmet.
Oh, you went to that?
Yeah.
Could you see everything that was going on?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I was right there. I had that media access from where I had that.
I see. So those 15 Super Bowls, those were with your media pass.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's super cool. Do you ever go backstage, like into the train?
Oh, yeah.
What's it called? The clubhouse? What's it called in football?
This is a great peel-back moment. First of all, so many people apply to go to, for media credentials, and they're really picky about it because you have to have covered the NFL, really been there, that kind of thing. And once you get the media credentials, then it's game on, and there's still so many people that cover it. After the game, you go outside of the locker room, and they've got all of the guys set up at different podiums, and you interview them that way because they couldn't have all the media in there. It's about 500 media. So where you're normally, I used to travel with the Cowboys, it's no problem. There's a handful of us that would be there. But you multiply that, and it's crazy, and it's just a wild thing. It's fun to cover.
When you talk to a team that just lost, or talk to a player who's on a team that just lost a big game or a bad call or something that they were really counting on winning, they got upset. Is it harder? Do you have to be? How do you deal with that? I'm sure you have to be very diplomatic and you have to be very careful, right?
In a way, you do have to be diplomatic. It depends on the personality of the player and how well you know them and do they respect you and your knowledge of what happened in the game or whatever. I kind of say if it's gotcha questions, then you may see some players get hot under the collar. But otherwise, a lot of them understand, especially now because you're such a brand when you're an athlete and you have so many people around you, that you just answer the question. I always thought, what's the best phrase? I really have no comment on that. I did what I was supposed to do, and I missed the route or whatever happened. And it's just better to answer and move on. And the ones that don't and dig their heels, and that's where you start to get the nastiness and the back and forth on Twitter and whatnot.
Well, they probably get coached by media managers, right, on how to handle all that stuff. Yeah, because it means a lot of money to them. Did anybody ever was totally rude to you?
Yes. It's funny. Nobody has asked me that question in a long time. I've actually been really incredibly lucky. The players have been supportive of me. They've come on so many of the shows I've done. They have really, from the Cowboys to the Giants to the Yankees to the Raiders, whoever. I had one incident where it was a spring training thing, and it was with the Texas Rangers. And when I was in the locker room, there was a pitcher named John Wetland.
I heard he's had some legal problems.
Yes. Now he's in all kinds of legal problems.
I'll bet he's really humble now.
I bet he was so nasty to me when I went in. Then I went in the locker room, and I was always gracious and gave everybody space and easygoing, and the players liked me. So I was going to talk to another player, and he just blew his lid like, "What is she doing in here?" and all this stuff.
Oh, wow.
And the players jumped on him. They jumped on him. They said she has every right to be here as any other reporter, as anybody from the Dallas Morning News or any other reporter that's here. So that was great. The players stuck up for me, and he slurped away.
Wow. Yeah, when I read about his legal problems, I was thinking, I hope he wasn't really rude to anybody in his career because that could be... Anyway, so how did you go from being a sports reporter to understanding about business? Your new book, Deal Your Own Destiny, Increase Your Odds, Win Big, and Become Extraordinary, is available on Amazon. How did you go from the one to the other?
Because I started off really where I'm a content freak. I mean, I love everything. Business, politics, sports, and when I went to school, that's what I did. I started off in their TV station and radio station, and from there I became an anchor woman, and so I was doing news, and I was doing a lot of business reporting and that whole thing. So I always had business in my background, and I really liked talking about the business of business, what was working, what wasn't, what was happening with small cap stocks, and what was happening with companies, and from A to Z. So that was always there, but people all of a sudden just really kind of globbed on because it's so unique on the sports thing with me. And Forbes books, they saw me, they met me, so it's a branch of Forbes, and they said, we want to do your story, and, can we do your story? And I said, of course, and that just exploded the whole business side of it. And, of course, I speak to a lot of different corporations, and I'm in there for influential listening or branding or whatever it might be. So I had that credibility then, but it just wasn't amplified as much, and now that got more attention.
So you said so many things there: influential listening, branding, and then business. So tell us about all three of those things. First of all, let's talk about what do you need to. Your book is called "Deal with Your Own Destiny." What do you need to do to succeed in business? I know it's probably a lot of things, but what are like the main things you need to do? Actually, no, we got to take a break, Kate. So hang on to that, and we'll talk when we come back from our break. Got Kate Delaney on, author of "Deal with Your Own Destiny," as well as. Deal Your Own Destiny, as well as what is that other book called, Kate?
Invade the Man Cave.
Invade the Man Cave. Kate Delaney coming up right after this. Don't go away. Okay, we are back on the bright side talking to Kate Delaney, award-winning national broadcast personality and Emmy Award winner, Kate, as well as Golden Mike Award winner. What did you win the Emmy for?
I won the Emmy for a series I did on AIDS and how it was affecting a community and one man's journey to, sadly, the loss of his life. And this was through an accidental blood transfusion, so it was very sad.
And this was a show or a segment?
It was a television Emmy it was a report I did, a special report I did for in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Wow. Very impressive, Miss Delaney. And you're a fellow New Jerseyite. I always give props to New Jersey. Did you hear that I was just reading a couple days ago, more people are leaving the state of New Jersey than any other state in the country. Did you read this?
I did, and you know what? Part of it is because of the tax situation, I think that's the biggest thing, really, from North Jersey to South. Yeah,
it definitely is, and it's too bad because New Jersey's so beautiful. Parts of it are. Where are you from, by the way, in New Jersey?
Yeah, I'm from Cherry Hill, so a stone's throw away from Philly, and the farms there, and just great corn. Here's what people don't know, Ben, about New Jersey. I'm going to defend New Jersey. They think it's a Tony Soprano, all the smokestacks and dirty pollution. But South Jersey and parts of North Jersey, too, and even central New Jersey, really it's what they call the Garden State.
That's right.
Tomatoes and corn.
Yeah. I remember when I was growing up, I used to love the forest. We would just go walk around in the forest and get lost in it and just be amazed by how beautiful it was and how thick it was and how green it was. So before we went to break, we were talking about your book, Deal Your Own Destiny, available on Amazon. And I know it's kind of a silly question in a way, but what if you want people to know one or two things about being successful in business, what would you say?
I'd say number one is go all in. So you can't just dip your toe in it. As you know, by what you've done in your career, and I know from my own career, but what I know from the most successful people I've met and talked to, you have to commit to doing it. You have to put in the work. You have to roll up your sleeves. I had a conversation with Gary Vaynerchuk, and if you don't know who he is, Gary Vee, look him up, everybody. He's huge. And he didn't start off huge. But he, every day, put in the work, learned what he had to learn, grew his father's wine business, which was really starting to atrophy.
Did you say wine? Wine business, did you say, Kate?
Yeah, he had a wine business. And he exploded the business where it was really kind of falling apart. And he's also from New Jersey. But it's brilliant what he says and what he does. And he's just one of the many people that I've had the chance to have a conversation with. And it's the same thing over and over again. Same thing with athletes. Tom Brady, he was not drafted first. He didn't look good for the draft. And then in the end, after going in the 7th round, look what he's done now, a fistful of Super Bowls, 6 rings, and he was tenacious. He stayed on it. He had his buddies, as he told me, shoot videos of him, whatever you could scrape up to send it to recruiters to get into a better college. And he had his designs on getting into the pros, and he did. He got into the NFL, and the rest is history. But people don't always know the backstory that he wasn't from some huge, wealthy family with massive connections, and he wasn't getting all the publicity. But in the end, he went all in on what he had to do. So I think that's so key. You got to sit down and decide what differentiates me from everybody else, and what do I need to do to get there.
You think you have to really want it, kind of thing. It can't be like kind of sort of. You have to really want it if you want to get something like that. Is that is that a good way to put it?
Here's a great phrase. Here's a phrase that pays for everyone out there. The Marines have a saying. It's called "Embrace the suck." Embrace the suck, because it's a lot of work.
Oh wow, that's really tough though, Kate. I mean, that's easier said than done, because there's all kinds of different ways things can suck. And it's almost endless, right? And so you might, as soon as you embrace one way of sucking, another one comes up around the corner. And that's kind of like how life is in a way. And that's why you have to embrace it, because the opposite, there's really the alternative sucks. Resisting it and fighting it sucks.
Right,
which is another.
And you know, and anybody who started a business, I mean, this country's made up of small businesses that then sometimes become big corporations. People forget that Jeff Bezos, he might be the king of the world right now and one of the wealthiest men, but he started off at a crummy little desk with dial-up internet and ideas. Wow. I mean, dial-up internet, Ben.
Dial-up, I remember it very well. I remember cards even. I don't know if you remember that, when they had cards. Yeah. You know, that's really interesting, because as long as, no matter where you're at, even if you're, like you say, you're in a really lousy position now, you're sitting in a lousy desk with just a bunch of ideas, there's a way to get to greatness from wherever you are, correct? No matter where you are.
Oh, I agree. And it goes back to that same thing that I said. Go all in, and number two, remember that patience pays, because I think what happens is people give up too soon. It's too hard. It's hard. I can't do it. I'm blocked. There's some dilemma. There's a problem. And they, instead of asking a lot of questions, figuring out who they need to reach out to and ways around it, or I say life is like a jungle gym. So it's not one step in front of the other, like going up the ladder anymore. It's really a jungle gym to get to where you want to go. You might have to pivot and move in a different direction, as we all have had to do during this whole pandemic thing. It is changed business. And how do you think things? How do you reimagine? How do you reboot your ideas? And if you have that mindset, you can, I think, do anything.
I say it's an obstacle course, the same idea as a jungle gym. And that reminds me of Winston Churchill's famous quote. He said, "History is one damn thing after another." And that's kind of how life is. It's like one, right? It's like we have this intuitive idea that as soon as I solve this problem, I'll be home free. And then we're always disappointed. But there's always another one right around the corner, right? No matter one problem after another. That's what life is. It's problem solving.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's the thing. So it's not about getting to the destination. It's your journey, because you're always going to be on that journey, no matter where you are.
Yeah, that's one of the most powerful ideas. It's like you don't listen to a song to get to the end, right?
Yep.
It's the music, it's the song, and that's how. I think that, in a nutshell, that's probably the best way to handle life, wouldn't you say? Is to like appreciate the journey of it instead of just trying to get to an end.
I think so, and I think the thing that too many of us do, and I've been guilty in my life of doing this, is that you future cast so much in your head of when I get here, it's going to be amazing to do this and to do that, and you're not living in the present. And living in the present is powerful.
And then now they call it mindfulness, and they have like medical school curricula that feature mindfulness. And there's like institutes of mindfulness at Johns Hopkins University and UCLA. And basically what that is like paying attention to your life as it goes by. I always thought one of the worst tragedies would be to be like 90 years old, ready to die, and think like you didn't appreciate your life. And your life just went by.
But I think there's so many people that fall into that category. I saw a great interview with Denzel Washington, and I had a chance to speak to him once briefly, and he didn't say this to me, but this was just a great way to look at it. You could have a gazillion dollars, you can be Jeff Bezos, you can be whoever, but if you're not living life, if you're not present, then what does it mean in the end? You're in the hearse, and you've got a U-Haul with the money behind you being pulled. mean,
so
why?
True. I think we never think that we're going to die. It's like shocking when we get old and we're about to die. Probably we don't think we're going to get. Did you think you were going to? I don't know how old you are, but did you think you were going to age to wherever you are now? Did you ever anticipate being in your 40s or?
No. I mean, that's a great way to put it. You just feel, especially when you're in your 20s, especially then, and in your late 20s, you feel invincible. You do. You feel invincible, and you just keep moving along, and you're not thinking about death. You're right, and we don't talk about it that much.
I think there's this old Toltec wisdom that says always live as if death were over your right-hand shoulder. And I kind of try to keep that in mind as I live my life. And it puts things in perspective when you're dealing with the inevitable ups and downs. So real quick, because I only got about a minute, Deal Your Own Destiny. That's your latest book. It's on Amazon. Is that a card metaphor?
Everybody says that. Is it a card metaphor? And it is in a way, because what's the river card going to be? Is it going to be success and you're going to win the pot, or are you going to be constantly getting disappointed by the cards that you're dealt? You're the dealer. Take control. Remember that you are the dealer of your life. Don't let people deal the cards to you.
That's awesome. That's great. Thank you so much, Kate. So not only are you a media savant and an authoress, you're also kind of a guru of sorts too, aren't you?
I like that. I'll take that. I'm mindfulness guru. I love it, Ben. It's great being on with you.
Great to talk to you. Have a beautiful day. Thanks so much, Kate. That was Kate Delaney. Her latest book, Deal Your Own Destiny, available on Amazon. She also has a GCN radio show called America Tonight. And that's all the time we have for today, friends, on The Bright Side. Thanks so much for listening. Please check out my websites, brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, and criticalhealthnews.com for longevity products, and truthtreatments.com for our Truth Skin Health products. Have yourselves a wonderful, beautiful, awesome, spectacular day. We'll talk to y'all later, folks. Bye for now.